What's up, guys? Bullfile the Fell-Handed here, bringing you the Art of the Bat Part 10. Here we are in my garage staring at the Bat Chat. Now, what I'm going to do here is, I've got a game here loaded up for you guys. Also, I'm going to go through what type of crew skills I use, what I recommend, what type of supplies I recommend to run, what type of equipment I recommend to run. And if you will look at one of my earlier videos, I went through a bunch of different websites. One of those websites was VB Addict, and that is more or less the scripture in equipment, and that's exactly what I'm running. Now, moving on, I'm going to take you guys on a little bit of tour here. I'm going to show you, what kind of crew skills I run, supplies, equipment, so on and so forth. Now, don't get confused about this order, because I've moved shit around, so on and so forth. You definitely want to get Mentor before now, okay? You definitely want to do that. Eagle Eye is one of those skills that is not hella useful. I like it because it gives me more information. I make decisions based off of what this tells me. If someone's ammo racked, I may or may not roll them. Sixth Sense, you have to have Sixth Sense. If you do not have Sixth Sense, you need Jesus. Next up, clutch braking. The mobility on this tank is sorely lacking. Clutch braking kind of makes up for that. Kind of makes you a little bit more agile, which of course is what the Bat Chat needs. It's a little sluggish. It's got the speed, but it's a little sluggish in the turns. Camouflage, you must have camouflage. If you look at WoT info and run the numbers on the camouflage for the tank, it bumps it up incredible. Situational awareness increases your view range by 3%. You definitely have to have that. Repairs, always good, unless you want to spend, 3 to 20 grand on a busted track. You got to have repairs. Track mechanic, I just get this with all of my tanks. The track is up in a flash before I could select it. Brothers in Arms, BIA, gives you 5% across the board. So, view range, aim, loading, whatever. Recon gives you 2% to your view range, so coupled with situational awareness, you get a +5. Off-road driving. You're going to be driving a lot more than you're going to be shooting. I highly recommend this more than any of the shooting skills. Here we have Smooth Ride. This is good. I don't recommend this early on in the game, this or Snapshot. You need other things. I would definitely recommend off-road before these because you're going to be moving more. Silent driving. This is beautiful. This pumps up your moving camouflage a decent amount for what it is. This safe stowage, is kind of something I just threw in there. If you're getting shot in the bat, you fucked up. Swimming lessons is, a person like me needs them. That's all I'm going to say. If you don't know what that means, just go with it. Muffled shot. This is your camouflage value after shot. Normally it just tanks, it goes straight to the toilet. That kind of helps pick it up a little bit. Deadeye. Whenever you hit someone, you're more likely to break things. And, that's what we're all about. We're here to hurt people. Paratrooper Training. Highly recommend this if you have this tank, because you would be surprised how much trouble that horsepower gets you into. Now, I do only run 30 APCR. That pretty much needs to be your only option there, because if you're like me and you end up dumping mags and switching clips when you have to change sections of the board, things are going to get a little hectic. So right now, straight out VB Addict, vertical stabilizer, coated optics, improved vents. For a while I was running a GLD, gun lane drive, instead of coated optics. I put optics on, just totally different ball game. You're going to lose 10% aim time, but who gives a shit, because you're going to pick up loads of assisted spotting damage. So yeah, it's what helped me get my second mark. So right now we're going to take you guys straight into the game. This is Fjord's Standard Battle. Now the greens, are on the western side there, posted up. The reds are on the eastern side. And now what I like to do in this game, I like to tend to go left there, right about, B7, and kind of shift row up through that little valley there. Once you do that, you can come around behind. Haven't really had a lot of luck right there in the middle. You look at the D, say 6 area. That's where a lot of tanks tend to congregate. Haven't really had a lot of luck there. I've seen a lot of guys make that work. Kudos to them. I, however, am not one of them. In this particular tank, I would recommend going left. I mean, of course, you know, we all have different play styles. If your play style is up and personal and up close, it may work for you. However, it does not work for me. I like to do most of my business when a tank is shooting someone else. You know, and that's where the strength of the bat chat lies. You just come in and you just rip somebody apart and you drive off. Your one takeaway from this video is, when you get down to 2 rounds, when you're rolling someone, you need to have your exit strategy locked down. I think I've said this before. I'm going to say it again because it is hella important. You need to have an exit strategy on this tank. And you know, when you are covering a large area, go ahead and reload. You know, like say, you know, you're going to go 400 meters away, dump the mag. You know, who cares how much you have in it? If you know there's no reds nearby and you know nobody's going to present a shot, go ahead and dump the mag, move up. And of course, if you're ever going to roll anybody, never roll someone unless you have a full clip, unless you actually have to. So, you know, right now we're posted up. We're flanked by a pair of Leos here. We've got a brace of Leos covering us, and that's probably most likely the second. Gonna be my second art of is gonna be the Leo. It's an amazing tank. I consider it the most OP tier 10 medium. Now, as you can see here, you know, we've got a little action going on the left there. We're in a very good spot. If anything happens, we can kind of pull down this hill. You never really want to start shooting at someone until you have a good, you know, escape plan. You know, not necessarily the same escape plan as rolling someone, but you know, you need to duck down behind a hill, go hold down, start doing laterals. Laterals is when, you know, you can only see your turret and you're low enough to where you can turn the tank completely perpendicular to where your barrel's facing and just rock back and forth. That, I mean, it makes you incredibly difficult to hit at range. A good example of that is Erlenberg, there on the south side there, near say J2, J3. That's where a lot of medium drivers will be doing laterals, and you're like, oh man, these guys, I see them, but I can't hit them. And that's kind of the same thing you want to pull off if you were so capable. So now we see these reds pushing our flank extremely hard, and you know, right now we're just going to kind of put down a little bit of defense fire here, just kind of pick away at them, see what we can do. And you know, the whole joy of being in a medium is if you are being rushed, you can just drive away. Heavy drivers, TD drivers don't normally get this benefit. You can just cut out and leave, and that's exactly what we're going to do, and that's what I recommend you to do. You know, if you're in a bad trading position, if things aren't going well on your flank, leave, get out of there, switch flanks, see if you can't spot somebody slipping. You know, check new targets. I mean, you know, because obviously if we had stayed in that position, we would have died. And the same result would have been if, you know, you're in an E3 or you're in an E100, you know, big beefy tank, you would have died. Your game would have been over right now. And that's why I always preach mediums, because they can go in, they can go out, they can move. Will, you know, you're going to make surprise appearances on the board if you're in a medium. Not necessarily, I mean, the bat chat, of course, it is king of speed, but that's just any medium. You know, it's in a tier 10 match, it's going to be decently fast. Right now here, I'm getting a little bit of issue from the green. Should have probably aimed that one in, kind of rushed myself into it, and now, you know how this story ends. He's kind of in trouble. He's right there, and you know, it's, I don't have to explain that to you. It's kind of like, you want to treat this tank kind of like your first person shooter. As soon as you kill somebody, you want to reload. At least that's how I do business. Obviously, if you were engaged, and when I mean engaged, multiple tanks, you know, you pushing a front, so on and so forth, then yeah, keep whatever few rounds you have. But if you're not, you know, then you need to probably go ahead and reload and reposition, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. There's a number of already over here, and we're going to see if we can't make something happen in this location. You have to be very careful. Artillery will hurt the bat chat very bad. Got tapped there by an ally. Not a good thing, but at the same time, we managed to get the kill while he somehow ended up getting murdered. I don't know how that worked out. At any rate, we're making a move on artillery right here. And, you know, you need just to be very careful. At range, they're not necessarily too bad, because, you know, they may miss, what have you. But when you are rolling a blind corner and they're just kind of posted up, yeah, you need to be very cautious. I would always recommend aiming in fully if you have the time. Granted, I understand there's going to be situations where you physically cannot aim in. You have to make the shots. The Bat-Chat is not a great clutch shotter. You're not going to roll around. You're not going to right shoulder and just, you know, spray away. The only time this really works is, you know, you're within say 50 meters. So you kind of need to keep your crime scenes, as it were, to about that range. Now, one of the most important things you need to have in the Bat-Chat is you need to conserve your health. You need to guard your health very jealously, because the longer this tank is alive, the more powerful it becomes. Because what you're going to have is you're going to have numerous tanks out there who have been through the ringer. And what this means for you is numerous targets you can clip out. You know, because you can't really clip out a tier 10 unless you just happen to get very lucky. And that's the thing. You know, right now you've got a lot of guys that are low health, and we're clipping them. We're clipping them left and right. And that, you know, that's where the strength of this tank comes in, I think, is the fact that, you know, late game, mid to late game, this thing is an absolute monster. And if you know what you're doing, there's nothing you can't do with this tank. The only thing it's limited by is its small ammunition capacity, and they put that there for a reason, obviously, because if you had more rounds, the Bat-Chat would just run around just clipping everybody at the end of the game. The defense, what I would say defense would be, is go in groups. You know, if you've just got a couple of guys and you're not in a party, you know, you're not connected with the other greens or what have you, follow them around, use them as bait. I know it's cruel, but, you know, I'm trying to make you win. I'm trying to give you tactics to use for this tank, and tactics to use against this tank. And, you know, in order to make you a better player. You know, we've got a Bat-Chat coming around the other side here. He doesn't know I'm here. And what we're going to do is, you know, we're going to go down here. I can take a round. The idea here is even if you have to take a round, you have to get these tanks off the board, because they're incredibly dangerous. The longer they're left alive, the bigger danger they are. So right now we ended the game. We didn't do tons of damage, but we did get loads of kills. And, you know, loads of kills at the same time is also rewarding. Guys, thank you for watching the Art of the Bat 10. This will be the end of this series. Next up will be the Art of the Leo. Make sure to tune in. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.